How's everyone doing? Welcome to another top 10 most expensive Pokemon cards. Today we're counting down the top 10 most expensive Pokemon cards from the EX Sandstorm set. So, if you're a big EX Sandstorm fan, this video is just for you. Now, before we get into the top 10 most expensive here, I do want to remind everyone and let everybody know who doesn't know yet that Friday, next week, April 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be hosting my live giveaway event in celebration of reaching 8,000 subscribers. Well, I'll be giving away a bunch of Pokemon slabs along with singles, booster packs, and God packs as well. All you have to do is be on my live Friday, April 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yes, the live does go for a while, so you don't have to get there right away, but the sooner you get there, the better the chance you have of winning. Normally, the first giveaway I run, there's only about 7 to 10 people there, so you want to make sure you're there to better your chances at winning the giveaway. The early bird gets the worm. Now, today, like I said, we're counting down the top 10 most expensive EX Sandstorm Pokemon cards. If you can go ahead and do me a favor and like this video, and if you haven't become a subscriber yet, maybe hit that subscribe button and subscribe to the channel as well. It'd be much appreciated. Lastly, if you like this series, comment down below what set you would like to see in next week's top 10 most expensive Pokemon cards, and it may be featured. Now, let's get into today's things with the top 10. At number 10, we are going to be starting off with the Whale Lord. Yes, this looks all very different. I couldn't use TCG Player as they didn't have any EX Sandstorm cards going on there with margins. They had under 10, which wouldn't make this a top 10. So I had to find a different site. And this one's kind of cool. It tells you what the ungraded price of it's going, what a PSA 7, 8, 9, 9.5, and 10 is going for this card. Now, it's kind of crazy because if you look at a 9.5, it's going for $128. But if you go for a PSA 9.5 to a PSA 10, like, dude, it, like, goes up by whatever 6 times would be in Octagon. I don't even know. It's insane. But I think this is pretty cool. I might just use this from now on. You can see that this card has stayed in a pretty steady line. Nothing crazy. The most expensive this card has been is back in May of 2022 at $51. And the cheapest it's been is back in March 2021 at $12.53. Currently going for $27.95 and a PSA 10 of $775.71. Oh my God, that's crazy. At number 9, we have ourselves the Jolteon from the EX Sandstorm, currently going for $30.81 with a rise and an explosion at a PSA 10, $476.37. This card last year, or not last year, but 3 years ago, back in January, was going for $16.38. The cheapest this card has been looks like it was back in August of 2023 at $16.37, and the most expensive it was $36.30 back in January of 2023 as well. Number 8, we have ourselves Umbreon. Surprised this guy's only at number 8. Currently going for $33.11 with an exploding price of PSA $946.25. This card 3 years ago was at its lowest price of $13.25. And it looks like back in April of 2021 was when it was its most expensive at $40.55. At number 7, we have ourselves Kabutops EX Water Style Edition. Card is currently going for $33.66 with a modest PSA price of $345. The 9.5 isn't too crazy away from the PSA 10. And the 9, let's just say if I'm buying this card, I'm buying it as probably a 1, but on this, realistically, a 9. The cheapest this card was back in November of 2021 at $18.63. And it looks like the most expensive point of it was back in March of 2021 at $43.44. Now let's go ahead and get to number 6. Number 6 is the Linkttree EX, currently going for $34.03 with a PSA valued at $731 and even a 9.5 at $550. This card was its most expensive back in January of 2021 at $68.35, and its lowest price was back in March of 2021 at $16.75. On to number 5, we have ourselves the Gardevoir EX. This card is currently going for $35.20 with a PSA 10 of $700. PSA 9.5 of $400, and a starting to get more reasonable PSA 9 of $125. I'd probably just buy like a 7 at that point. Like, sheesh, that's crazy. Last year, or I'm sorry, 3 years ago, this card was going for $21.15. The most expensive point this card was at was back in April of 2023 at $45.22. And the cheapest this card was at was back in February 2021 at $17.65. Now for number 4, we have I keep calling him Armadillo. And I know that's not how you say his name. That's that animal in Australia. But that's what I've called him my whole life, and I don't know. I keep messing it up and saying it. This card is going for a current price of $37.52 with a PSA 10 price of $277.50, with 9.5 actually being a moderate price. And there's really nothing at 7, so if you get a 7, it might be worth a lot. This card 3 years ago was worth $40.52, and the cheapest this card was at was for a while from September of 2022 all the way to December of 22 at $20.50. The most expensive this card was at was back in April of 2023 at $81.73. Really crazy there. Now, before we get into the top 3 of the top 10 most expensive, we do have to give out some honorable mentions like we always do. So we have to go ahead and do an honorable top 5 from this set. Now, these cards didn't quite make it into this, but they are good enough to where they should have something of a mention, hence why we give them an honorable mention. All right, number 5 of the top 5 honorable mentions is going to be Vaporeon Reverse Holo, by the way, going for $17.75 and a PSA 10 market price of $360. Yeah. Wishing you didn't throw away those reverse holos now, I bet. Because I'm thinking the same thing. 3 years ago, this card was only worth $7. And at the lowest price, it was worth $3.04. Imagine you pay $3. This would be like the best gamble to ever have done. Buy like 100 reverse holo Vaporeons at a $3 price tag. Send them all to PSA. I mean, you're guaranteed to get like at least you would think, I'm not saying to do this is just my opinion, this is not financial advice. If you do this and it doesn't go in your favor, it's not my fault. This is totally opinionated. But if you do that and you end up getting like 5 to 10 of them at PSA 10s and you sell them, well, you just spent $300 and you just made $3,000. So, you know, that's kind of crazy if you ask me. I might have to look into that. Might be a little free money right there. But maybe not too. 50-50. It's always a gamble. And the most expensive this card was back in December of 2021 at $31.32. Number 4 of the top 5 honorable mentions is going to be the Reverse Holo Flareon. Same thing, going for $19 with a PSA $493.52. The most expensive this card was at one point was back in December of 2021 at $29.95, with it being worth $15.50 3 years ago. The cheapest this card has been was back in July of 2023 at $10.35. Number 3 of the top 5 honorable mentions is going to be Arcanine, my boy, Reverse Hollow. Currently going for about 20 bucks with a PSA, holy cannoli, of almost 500 smackaroos. That is insane. This card 3 years ago was worth $20, so pretty much the same, slight up and down fluctuation. The cheapest this card was at was back in February 2022 at $10, and the most expensive this card was at was back in May of 2022 at $31.62. It's time for number 2 of the top 5 honorable mentions. Number 2 is going to be Aggron. This card is going for a current $23.50 with a PSA 10 of $300. Yeah, that's insane. This card 3 years ago was worth $18. It had a high price of $39.75 back in May of 2022. And the cheapest this card was back in February 2021 at $15.90. Now it's number 1 of the honorable mentions. Number 1 honorable mention spot, which almost made into the top 10, is Salviai. This card is going for a current $23.74 with a PSA price tag 10 of $429.35. Absolutely insane. This card back 3 years ago was worth $16.60 with the lowest price tag it had back in May of 2022 at $10.74 and a highest price tag of $34.28 back in June of 2023. Now it's time for the top 3 most expensive Pokemon cards from EX Sandstorm. Number 3 is going to be the Flareon, not Reverse Hollow, just the Hollow, going for a current $37.53 with a PSA 10 price tag of $342.49. 3 years ago, this card was worth $23.75, with the lowest market price being back in April of 2021 at $14.81, and the most expensive this card was back in May of 2023 at $48.50. Absolutely absurd price. But if you really think about it, for it to be number 3 of the top 10 most expensive card from EX Sandstorm, a set that's, I think, more than 20 years old, $50, less than $50 for a number 3 card, most expensive card in the set. Dude, these booster packs go for like almost $1,000 a booster pack. It's like $500, $600, $700, and the cards, the most expensive card doesn't even, well, the third most expensive card doesn't even cost, would get you back anywhere near what the most expensive booster pack is. So it's probably better just to buy the set in singles. Now it's time for number 2. Is going to be the Aerodactyl. That is a sick looking Aerodactyl, and that's what I'm talking about when I say make hollows great again, is bring back artwork like that. This card is currently going for $39.44 with a 400 PSA 10 price tag, but that drops substantially when you get to the lower numbers here. 3 years ago, this card was worth $33.56. The cheapest this card was at was back in November of 2021 at $23.88. And the most expensive this card was at was back in March of 2023 at $49.55. Now it's time for the number 1 most expensive Pokemon card in EX Sandstorm. But before we do that, I know I said this already, please set a reminder. Because April 19th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be hosting my 8K live giveaway event where I'll be giving a bunch of Pokemon cards, packs, slabs, you name it, God packs back to you guys. And thank you for helping me get to that milestone of 8K. So, hope to see you Friday, April 19th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my YouTube channel. Now, let's get to the number 1 most expensive Pokemon card. Number 1 from EX Sandstorm. Number 1 is the Typhlosion EX with a beautiful hollow pattern there. I mean, literally, dude screams he's on Team Rocket's side, but it is just a sick card in itself. This card is going for $46.49 with a PSA 10 of $363.81. 3 years ago, this card was worth $58.57, with the cheapest being back in April of 2023 at $29.57. And the most expensive this card was again 3 years ago at $58.57. So that concludes today's top 10 most expensive EX Sandstorm Pokemon cards. Don't forget, please go ahead and hit that like button if you haven't yet. Comment what set you would like to see in next week's top 10 most expensive Pokemon cards, and you might get lucky and have it featured. Don't forget, if you have not yet become a subscriber, do please think about becoming a subscriber today. Turning on that notification button will ensure that you never miss a giveaway on my channel or any of its amazing content. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Don't forget, April 19th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my YouTube Live, I will be hosting a live giveaway event. We will be giving away a ton of Pokemon stuff back to you guys in celebration and thanks of getting me to reach 8K. Now, for those of you who know the saying, say it with me, make Hollows great again, and as always, keep poking on. And I hope you have amazing pulls yourself. Peace out. Have a great day.